He rescued a wounded beast. Now every hunter in the valley fears its return. Cole Harper crouched beside the scorch marks, running his fingers through pine needles fused into black glass. 20 years tracking wildlife in these mountains had taught him what belonged and what didn't. Bears left claw marks in bark, mountain lions dragged kills to high ground. Whatever had carved 4 parallel gouges through solid granite, each groove deep enough to fit his fist, wasn't in any field guide. The blood came next, dark purple, almost black, steaming despite the autumn chill. It pooled in depressions between rocks, leading upslope toward the restricted zone where even rangers didn't patrol. Cole checked his rifle, inadequate probably, but familiar, and followed. 3 miles in, the forest went silent. No birds, no insects. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Cole's neck prickled with the awareness that had kept him alive in 2 tours overseas. Something massive had come through here, breaking branches 12 feet up, leaving prints that made his brain stutter trying to categorize them. Canine, maybe. If canines came the size of Clydesdales. The cave mouth yawned ahead, exhaling the copper stench of trauma. Cole clicked on his flashlight, swept the beam inside, and froze. The creature took up half the cavern. Midnight fur, matted with purple blood that still oozed from plasma burns across its flanks. 4 legs, each ending in claws that explained the granite gouges. A wolf's head, but wrong. Too large, too intelligent in the way those amber eyes tracked his movement. No fear in that gaze, just calculation and pain. "Easy," Cole said, voice low. The creature's lip curled, revealing fangs long as his forearm. A rumble built in its chest. Not quite a growl, more like a warning. The amber eyes didn't blink. Cole set the rifle down, slowly, kept his hands visible. "I'm going to help you, or you're going to eat me. Either way, I'm not leaving you here to bleed out." He'd packed for a routine patrol, emergency sutures, antiseptic, trauma dressings meant for humans. The burns looked like nothing he'd seen outside classified briefings, energy weapons, the kind that didn't officially exist. Someone had hunted this thing with military-grade hardware. The creature watched him approach. Every muscle in Cole's body screamed to run, but he'd learned to ignore that voice in Kandahar. Fear kept you alert. It didn't keep you alive. He knelt just outside striking range, opened his pack, and met those amber eyes. "Your call," he said. 30 seconds passed. A minute. The creature's breathing grew labored, each exhale a shudder of pain. Then slowly it lowered its massive head to the stone floor. Permission granted. Cole worked fast. The burns went deep, exposing tissue that definitely wasn't terrestrial. Too dense, shot through with what looked like silver threads. He irrigated the wounds with his entire water supply, applied field dressings that would never hold, and wrapped them with climbing rope because nothing else came close to fitting. "You're going to need antibiotics I don't have," he muttered, tying off the last bandage. "And about 6 veterinarians, preferably ones with xenobiology degrees." The creature huffed, almost like it understood. Cole sat back on his heels, adrenaline crash hitting him like a physical blow. He'd just field-dressed something that shouldn't exist, using supplies meant for sprained ankles. The absurdity made him laugh, sharp and short. "Come on," he said. "My cabin's 2 miles down. You'll die here, at least die somewhere warm." Getting 400 pounds of alien predator down a mountain in the dark ranked among the stupider things Cole had done. He rigged a travois from deadfall and paracord, coaxed the creature onto it with jerky from his pack, and pulled. The creature was too weak to protest, which worried him more than the claws. Dawn was breaking when they reached his cabin. Cole had built it himself, far enough from civilization that questions didn't follow. Solar panels, well water, 30 acres of privacy. He dragged the travois inside, cleared his workshop space, and stacked every blanket he owned into a nest. The creature collapsed into it with a sound that might have been relief. "Food," Cole said. "You need food." He cooked every piece of meat in his freezer, venison mostly from last season's hunt. The creature ate mechanically, amber eyes never leaving him, watching, always watching. Cole fell asleep in his chair, rifle across his lap, too exhausted to make it to his bed. He woke to those eyes still fixed on him, waiting. 3 days passed in a rhythm of wound care and cautious coexistence. The creature tolerated his touch, even seemed to lean into it when he changed bandages. Cole talked while he worked, filling the silence with observations about the weather, speculation about plasma weaponry, complaints about his dwindling food supply. "You're expensive to feed," he said on the third afternoon, wrapping fresh gauze. "Hope you've got insurance." The creature made a sound in its throat, almost amused. Cole's security system pinged that evening. Motion sensors along his southern property line. He pulled up the camera feed on his tablet and felt ice slide down his spine. Drones, 3 of them matte black, sweeping search patterns through the trees. Military design or close enough. They moved with purpose, scanning, hunting. He killed the lights, closed the shutters. The creature raised its head, amber eyes suddenly sharp. "Someone's looking for you," Cole whispered. The creature rose, unsteady but determined. It limped to the window, peered through a crack in the shutters, and growled, deep, resonant, full of recognition and rage. Cole's tablet showed the drones converging on his position. "We need to move," he said, "now." He gathered supplies in the dark, ammunition, medical kit, food, water. The creature paced behind him, agitated. Cole threw on his pack, grabbed his rifle, and turned to urge the wounded animal out the back door. The creature wasn't there. A woman stood in its place. Cole's brain stalled, trying to process the impossible. Blue skin, almost luminous in the dimness, pointed ears rising through midnight hair. Those same amber eyes, now set in a face that was beautiful and alien, and absolutely present in his cabin where a wolf thing had been seconds ago. She wore the remnants of armor, dark metal that curved over her chest and shoulders, damaged by the same plasma burns. Her body was athletic, predatory grace even when motionless. "You are kind," she said, her voice rough and accented, shaping English like an unfamiliar weapon. For human, unexpected. Cole's hands tightened on his rifle, didn't raise it, couldn't. "What are you?" "Hunted," she said. The tablet shrieked in alarm. The drones had found them. She moved to the window with fluid speed that made his soldier instincts scream danger. Her fingers traced the shutter's edge, claws extending where human nails should be. "They come for me," she said. "We'll kill you too, for seeing, for helping." She turned, amber eyes meeting his. "I am sorry." The first drone punched through the north window in a spray of glass and wood. Its scanner swept the room, locked onto her, and a targeting laser painted her chest red. Cole shot it out of the air. "Sorry later," he said, chambering another round. "Run now." She stared at him, this human who'd saved her twice in 30 seconds, and something shifted in those alien eyes. Then she smiled, fierce and sharp. "Yes," she said, "run now." They hit the back door as 2 more drones breached the front. The forest swallowed them, dark and familiar. Cole's cabin exploded behind them, lighting the night in orange and white. He didn't look back. The valley floor dropped away beneath them as Cole led her through terrain that would break most men. She kept pace despite her injuries, feet finding purchase on loose shale like she'd been born to mountains. Maybe she had. He didn't know anything except that armed drones meant armed operators, and operators meant a timetable measured in minutes. "How many?" he asked, low and clipped. "Hunting party. 6, maybe 8. Her accent wrapped around the words, making them sound like a threat assessment. "Torvin commands. He will bring more." Cole's mind catalogued and discarded options. The valley had 3 exit points, all of which required daylight or suicidal confidence. His truck was ash along with his cabin. Satellite phone, gone. They had what he carried and whatever combat skills she possessed in a body that could barely walk 3 days ago. "Can you shift again?" he asked. "The wolf form?" She stumbled, caught herself on a pine trunk, breathing hard. "Not yet. Burns damaged the translation fails, the place inside where change lives." "How long?" "Unknown." "Perfect." Cole adjusted course, heading for the ridge system he'd mapped over 20 years. The hunters would expect them to run for civilization. Instead, he'd take them deeper into wilderness, where alien technology meant less than knowing which streams ran year-round. They moved through the dark for 2 hours before she faltered. Cole caught her elbow, her skin warm under his palm, fever-hot, and felt her stiffen at the contact. "I am not weak," she said. "You're injured, different thing." Her jaw set, proud and stubborn, then her leg buckled. Cole got an arm around her waist before she hit the ground. She was lighter than he expected, dense muscle under smooth skin. She pushed against his chest, more reflex than real resistance. "I can walk." "Sure, and I can fly. We're both lying." He guided her to a fallen log. 5 minutes, then we move. She settled with obvious reluctance, amber eyes scanning the tree line. Even wounded and exhausted, she maintained that predator awareness. Cole pulled out his canteen, offered it. She took it after a hesitation that felt cultural. "Your name," she said. "You have not shared it." "Cole Harper." "Cole." She tested it, her accent softening the vowel. "I am Rynara, scout class, third daughter of the shifting clans." The formal introduction seemed important to her, a ritual. "You have earned truth. My people sent me to observe humans, to assess." "Assess what?" "If you are ready, for knowing you are not alone," she gestured skyward. "In this." The implications hit him like mortar fire. First contact. Humanity's biggest question answered in his destroyed cabin with plasma burns and alien blood. Cole sat down heavily beside her. "The people hunting you don't want us to know." Torvin and his kind profit from ignorance. They harvest worlds the Council ignores. If humans join the protected species, she made a cutting gesture, their business ends. "So they're trying to kill you before you file your report." "Yes. And if you die, your people assume humans killed you." "Yes. We get quarantined. Forever." She met his eyes, unflinching. "Yes." Cole laughed, harsh and sharp. "That's some field assignment." "I chose it." Pride threaded her voice. "I am skilled. I would have succeeded, but their ambush." Her fingers traced the burns on her ribs, visible through torn armor. "Plasma catches faster than thought." His security system chirped, the portable unit he'd grabbed from the cabin. Motion detected, 400 yards north. Cole pulled up the display. 2 heat signatures, humanoid, armed with energy rifles that glowed white-hot on thermal. "Time's up," he said. They moved. Cole led her off-trail, through a creek bed that would scatter their thermal signature, then up a granite face that required 3-point contact. She climbed with him, claws extending for grip, each movement precise despite obvious pain. At the top, he took them into a cave system he'd found years ago, 20 feet deep, invisible from below, with a sightline on their back trail. Defensible. "We make our stand?" Rynara asked. "We make them think twice." Cole unpacked what he'd salvaged, his rifle, 40 rounds, 2 flashbangs from his survivalist phase, and a hunting knife. Against plasma weapons and military armor, it was laughable. But terrain was the great equalizer, and these hunters didn't know his valley. "Tell me their weaknesses," he said. Rynara leaned against the cave wall, studying him with those unreadable amber eyes. Then she smiled, small, fierce, full of teeth. "They rely on technology, scanners, weapons, armor that makes them confident." She gestured to his rifle. "They will underestimate primitive tools." "Not primitive, reliable," Cole checked his sight. "Different philosophies." "Yes." Something shifted in her expression. "Respect, maybe. You think like hunter, not prey." "Learned it the hard way." She tilted her head. "You were warrior, before this isolation." "Not a question." Cole focused on loading his rifle, muscle memory smooth and automatic. "Before," he agreed. "What changed?" "I got tired of watching people die for reasons that made sense until they didn't." Silence stretched between them. Then her hand covered his on the rifle stock, deliberate contact, warm and startling. "You could have run," she said quietly, "left me in cave, saved yourself." "Wasn't raised that way." "Your kindness may kill you. Wouldn't be the first time I made stupid choices for good reasons." Her fingers tightened briefly before pulling away. The loss of contact felt more significant than it should. Movement below, 2 hunters, scanning methodically. Cole recognized the pattern. Professional, careful, covering angles. The lead hunter paused, raised a hand in a signal. Military precision. Cole set the flashbang on a 3-second delay and rolled it downslope. The explosion shattered the night. The hunters dropped, training overriding surprise, but their night vision was blown. Cole put 2 rounds center mass on the closest target. The armor held, but the impact sent the hunter sprawling. The second hunter swung toward his muzzle flash, plasma rifle charging with a whine that set his teeth on edge. Rynara moved, Even injured, even human-shaped, she was faster than anything he'd seen. She hit the hunter from the side, claws extended, tearing through armor seams with surgical precision. The hunter went down hard, didn't get up. The first hunter scrambled for his weapon. Cole shot him twice more, head this time. The helmet cracked, the body stopped moving. Rynara stood over her kill, breathing hard, her body rigid with pain and adrenaline, purple blood mixed with red on her claws. "Are you?" Cole started. "More coming," she cut him off. They heard. She was right. His portable scanner showed 3 new heat signatures approaching fast. Cole grabbed the fallen hunter's weapons. Plasma rifles, sleek and deadly, and completely unfamiliar. "Can you use these?" he asked. Rynara took one, checked its charge with practiced efficiency. Yes! They retreated deeper into the caves. Cole knew these passages, had explored them the first year in his cabin. Tight quarters where superior firepower meant less than knowing the terrain. He led her through a squeeze that required crawling, emerging in a chamber with 2 exits. "Here," he said, "funnel point." They set up on opposite sides, creating a crossfire. Rynara moved with military efficiency despite her wounds, taking position with her back to stone, rifle braced. Footsteps echoed in the passage. 3 hunters, advancing in formation, professional, coordinated, expecting frightened prey. They got crossfire instead. Cole took the lead hunter. The plasma weapon kicked different than his rifle, but the principle held. Rynara dropped the second with 2 precise shots. The third managed to return fire, superheated air scorching past Cole's head close enough to singe hair. Rynara shifted her angle and fired through a gap Cole hadn't seen. The hunter collapsed. Silence rushed back in, broken only by their breathing. 3 down, Cole said. "How many left?" "Torvin, Grix, and 2 more at minimum." Rynara's hand pressed against her ribs. "They will regroup. Come with full force." "Then we leave." He led them out through the second exit into a ravine that opened onto protected forest. Federal land, cameras and rangers. Torvin could follow, but not without constraints. Dawn broke as they found shelter in a rock overhang. Cole checked their back trail. Clear. Rynara sank down against stone, eyes closing briefly before snapping open again. "Sleep," Cole said. "I'll watch." She studied him, then nodded. Trust, hard won but given. She settled back and let her eyes close. Cole kept watch as morning light filled the valley. Somewhere in the violence and survival, something had shifted between them. Recognition, maybe, or the beginning of something more dangerous than plasma burns. Cole woke to her hand on his shoulder, gentle pressure pulling him from dreams of fire and falling drones. Rynara crouched beside him, amber eyes sharp in the afternoon light. "Your turn to rest ended 2 hours ago," she said. He sat up, neck protesting. "You should have woken me sooner." "You needed it," she handed him his canteen, "and I needed to think." Cole drank, studying her. The burns looked better, edges less raw. Her movements held more strength, though pain still tightened her jaw when she shifted weight. "Think about what?" "How we stop running." She settled beside him, close enough that he felt the heat radiating from her skin. Torvin will not quit. His reputation depends on completing contracts. "So we make him the failure instead of you." "With what army?" Cole pulled up his scanner, showed her the topography he'd been mapping. "Don't need an army, just need to make them come to us on our terms." He outlined the plan while she listened, head tilted. The ridge system funneled into a box canyon with 1 entrance. Steep walls, limited sightlines for their scanners, debris field from an old rock slide. "A trap," she said. "The best kind. One they'll walk into thinking they've cornered us." Her smile came slow, dangerous. "You think in angles, like my people do when hunting." "Military taught me to stack advantages, terrain, surprise, desperation." He met her eyes, "and a partner I trust." Something shifted in her expression, vulnerability, quickly masked. "You should not trust so easily." "Little late for that." She looked away, fingers tracing patterns on stone. When she spoke again, her voice carried weight. "There is more you should know about why I chose this mission." She paused. "My people are old, Cole, ancient. We have walked stars since before your species built cities, and we are dying." The words hung between them. Our shifting gift comes with cost. Each generation, fewer children, fewer who survive the first change. In 300 cycles, perhaps we will be memory only. Her hand pressed against her chest. So we search for allies, for species with strength we lack, adaptability, innovation. She turned to him. Qualities I have seen in you. I'm one person who saved a stranger, who fights with primitive weapons and wins, who looks at alien and sees. She trailed off. Sees what? Her gaze held his. Not monster, not commodity, just person who needs help. The air between them felt charged, dangerous in ways that had nothing to do with plasma rifles. Cole's pulse kicked up, and from the way her pupils dilated, she noticed. His scanner shrieked, multiple contacts converging fast. They moved as one, grabbing weapons and gear. Cole led them toward the canyon, staying low, using every scrap of cover. Behind them, the whine of aerial drones cut the air. They're hurting us, Rynara said. I know. They hit the canyon entrance at a run. Cole had cached supplies here last season, climbing rope, pitons, a spare rifle. The box canyon rose around them, walls steep and unforgiving. Set charges here, he said, pointing to an overhang. When they follow us in, we bring it down. And trap ourselves inside. There's a climb route. He indicated the western wall. They won't expect it. Rynara studied the rock face, then him. You have done this before. Twice, once drunk on a bet. That surprised a laugh from her. Sharp, genuine, transforming her face. Cole felt the impact of it low in his chest. They worked quickly. Rynara's strength returning as adrenaline compensated for injury. She moved rocks twice her weight, creating a debris pattern that would channel the hunters deeper. Cole rigged explosive charges with the hunter's own plasma grenades. Professional work, she observed. Had good teachers. They finished as the first hunter appeared at the canyon mouth. Grix from Rynara's sudden tension. The lieutenant moved with brutal confidence, plasma rifle sweeping for targets. 3 more hunters fanned out behind him. Cole and Rynara pressed against a boulder, breathing synchronized, shoulders touching. He felt her shift slightly closer, the contact deliberate. When this works, she said quietly, I want to show you something. When this works, I want a drink and 12 hours of sleep. After that, then. Her hand found his, fingers lacing together. The touch sent electricity up his arm. Then she pulled away, checking her weapon, all business again. The hunters advanced into the canyon. Grix barked orders in a language Cole didn't know, but the tactical meaning translated, spread out, cover angles, flush the prey. Cole waited until they passed the trigger point. Then he squeezed the detonator. The explosion was beautiful and terrible. The overhang collapsed in a roar of stone and dust, tons of rock sealing the canyon entrance. One hunter disappeared under the avalanche. The others dove for cover, disoriented. Now, Cole shouted. They hit the confused hunters from 2 angles. Cole dropped one with a headshot. Rynara moved like violence made fluid, plasma fire and extended claws working in synchronization. She took down another hunter, armor no match for her precision. Grix roared, swinging toward her, his weapon discharged, missing by inches. Rynara rolled, came up firing, but he'd already moved. Cole flanked right, trying for position. Grix saw him, adjusted aim. Cole dove behind cover as plasma scorched the air where he'd been standing. Then Rynara was there between them, and Cole saw it happen. She shifted. Not fully, her injuries wouldn't allow that, but her hands became claws, her face elongating, blue skin rippling with black fur, hybrid form caught between human and beast. Grix stepped back. She hit him hard. They went down together in a tangle of claws and armor. Grix managed to get his weapon up. The plasma charge built with that distinctive whine. Cole shot him through the helmet gap. The body went limp. Rynara shoved the corpse away, chest heaving. The partial shift receded slowly, fur melting back into skin. She looked up at Cole with eyes that were still more amber than human. You killed him, she said. He was about to kill you. Yes, she rose, moved toward him. You saved me again. We're even. No. She stopped close enough that he felt her breath. We are not even. We are. Her hand rose to his chest, something else entirely. The canyon spun down to just them, her eyes holding his, the heat of her palm burning through his shirt. Cole's hand came up, fingers brushing her jaw. "Rynara," he said, and her name felt like crossing a threshold. She leaned in, and her lips on his were warm and soft and tasted like metal and adrenaline. Cole pulled her closer, hands sliding into her midnight hair, and she made a sound low in her throat that shot straight through him. The kiss deepened. Her body pressed against his, all muscle and heat and dangerous curves. His back hit the canyon wall, and he didn't care, lost in her mouth on his, her claws tracing patterns across his shoulders. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, her amber eyes were dilated almost black. "This complicates things," Cole managed. Everything was already complicated. Her thumb traced his lower lip. "This simply makes it worth the complications." A drone appeared overhead. They separated, military discipline overriding biology. Cole shot it down, but the damage was done. "Torvin knows where we are," Rynara said. "Then we climb now." The western wall rose 200 feet, technical grade. Cole went first, finding the route from memory. Rynara followed with confidence. Halfway up, plasma fire scorched the rock below them. Torvin had arrived with reinforcements. "Keep climbing," Cole shouted. A plasma bolt struck near Rynara's hand. She flinched, grip slipping. Cole lunged down, caught her wrist, hauled her up to his ledge. They pressed together while death screamed past. "Cannot climb and dodge," she said against his neck. "So we don't dodge." Cole pulled his last plasma grenade, armed it, and threw. His aim was off. The grenade hit 20 feet from Torvin's position. But the rockfall it triggered wasn't. Tons of loose scree cascaded down, forcing the hunters to scatter. In the chaos, Cole and Rynara climbed. They reached the top as plasma fire resumed, rolling over the rim and into cover. The far side dropped into dense forest. They half slid, half fell down the slope, until flat ground appeared. A service road cut through the trees ahead. "Civilization," Cole gasped. "We'll have to be careful now. Federal land, witnesses." He grabbed her hand. "Come on." They emerged onto the road as a park ranger's truck rounded the bend. The ranger's eyes went wide. Cole raised his hands. "We need help. People with weapons are hunting us." The ranger reached for his radio. "Sir, I need you both to—" Collapsed. Cole caught her, easing her down. The burns had reopened, purple blood seeping through her armor. "She needs a hospital," Cole said. "Now." The ranger stared at Rynara, at her blue skin, her pointed ears. He only hesitated a moment before keying his radio. "Dispatch, I have 2 individuals in medical distress at mile marker 47, requesting immediate airlift." Cole cradled Rynara while they waited, her head against his chest. "Stupid plan," she murmured. "It worked. Barely." Her eyes found his. "I have not shown you what I wanted yet." "I do not know this phrase." "Means later, when you're not bleeding." Her smile was weak but real. "Later, then." The helicopter appeared. Cole looked down at the alien warrior in his arms. Behind them, somewhere in the canyon, Torvin was regrouping. This wasn't over. But right now, Cole would take the victory. The hospital room hummed with machinery that didn't understand alien physiology. Rynara lay unconscious, hooked to monitors that beeped confused rhythms. Purple blood bags hung from stands. Cole's doing, after he'd convinced a terrified phlebotomist that yes, this was real, and no, calling the media wouldn't help anyone. He sat in the chair beside her bed, rifle propped against the wall, despite 3 separate nurses asking him to leave it with security. Outside the door, 2 federal agents pretended they weren't guarding an extraterrestrial. Inside, Cole pretended he wasn't watching her chest rise and fall, like it was the only thing keeping him sane. 72 hours since the canyon. Torvin had vanished, but Cole knew better than to trust silence. Predators waited. They watched. They found the perfect moment to strike. The door opened. A woman in an expensive suit entered, federal badge clipped to her belt, eyes sharp enough to cut glass. "Mr. Harper," she said. "I'm Director Sarah Chen with Homeland Security's Special Access Division. We need to talk about the fact that you're harboring an undocumented alien who's sparked an interstellar incident." She pulled up a chair, sat without asking. "About the fact that we have 3 dead bounty hunters in your valley and evidence of plasma weapons on American soil. about the fact that her people have been trying to contact us for 2 days, and we have no protocol for this. Cole's jaw tightened. She was attacked. I helped. That's not complicated. It's extremely complicated. Chen opened a tablet, showed him footage, satellite imagery of the canyon fight, thermal captures of Rynara shifting, audio recordings of radio chatter between hunters. We've been tracking unusual activity in your area for weeks. When the ranger called in your extraction, it triggered every alert we have. So arrest me. I don't want to arrest you, Mr. Harper. I want to understand what we're dealing with. She glanced at Rynara. Is she dangerous? Only to people trying to kill her. That's not reassuring. Wasn't meant to be. Chen studied him for a long moment. You care about her. Cole said nothing. Her people want her back, Chen continued. They've sent a ship. It's holding position just outside our atmosphere, waiting for permission to retrieve her. The president is currently having a breakdown about first contact protocols while every 3-letter agency fights over jurisdiction. She leaned forward. But here's the interesting part. She specifically requested that you be present when she wakes. Her commander seems to think your involvement is significant. I kept her alive. You did more than that, according to our intelligence. You turned a hunt into a war zone, and won using terrain advantage and improvised tactics. Chen's expression shifted, something like respect creeping in. The hunters you killed were wanted across 4 systems. Professional killers with military-grade equipment. You took them down with a hunting rifle and spite. And her help. Yes, her help. Chen closed the tablet. Which brings me to why I'm really here. Earth needs advocates, Mr. Harper. When she wakes up and files her report, she's going to determine whether humanity gets a seat at the galactic table or gets quarantined as too primitive to interact with. Your actions matter. What you did, how you did it, the fact that you risked everything for someone you barely knew, that matters. Cole looked at Rynara, at her blue skin and midnight hair spread across white pillows. I didn't do it for humanity. I know, that's what makes it powerful. Before Cole could respond, Rynara's eyes opened, amber and alert and immediately searching for threats. She found Cole first, and something in her expression softened. You stayed, she said, voice rough. Where else would I be? Smart man. She tried to sit up, winced. How long? What? 3 days, you needed surgery, human doctors did their best. They saved my life. She looked at Chen. You are authority figure, government representative. Director Chen, Homeland Security. Homeland, Rynara tested the word. You protect your territory. Something like that. Good, you will need that instinct. Rynara's hand found Cole's, fingers lacing together naturally. I must contact my people. They will be worried. Chen nodded. We've established a communication channel. Whenever you're ready. Now. They set up the call in a secure room, Cole standing behind Rynara as her commander's face appeared on screen. Orthan was gray-furred in his humanoid form, with eyes that missed nothing and shoulders that carried centuries of command weight. Scout Rynara, Orthan said, relief evident despite his formal tone. Your silence has been concerning. Unavoidable, Commander. The mission encountered complications. So we observed. Orthan's gaze shifted to Cole. The human who aided you, Cole Harper. Cole nodded, unsure of protocol. You have my gratitude, Orthan said, and my curiosity. Our monitoring showed you had multiple opportunities to abandon Scout Rynara. You chose otherwise. Wasn't a choice. Explain. Cole felt Rynara's hand tighten on his. He met Orthan's eyes through the screen. She needed help. That's all the reason I needed. Orthan was quiet for a moment. Simple answer, but humanity's history suggests such simplicity is rare among your kind. Maybe we're getting better. Perhaps. Orthan's attention returned to Rynara. Your preliminary report indicates the harvesters were involved, that Torvin commanded the operation. Confirmed. They ambushed my ship, attempted capture. When I escaped, they pursued to prevent my report. Rynara's voice strengthened with each word. They failed because of Cole Harper's intervention. The Council will want detailed testimony. They will have it. But, Commander, I must state clearly, humanity deserves admission. I have witnessed innovation, courage, and compassion that matches any species in our alliance. Cole Harper is proof of their potential." Orthan's expression was unreadable. One human is not representative of an entire species. No, but his actions when faced with the unknown reveal humanity's true nature. They adapt, they protect, they fight for what is right even when outmatched. Rynara stood, despite obvious pain. "I recommend immediate contact protocols. Humanity is ready." "That decision rests with the Council, not Field Scouts." "Then I will tell the Council what I have witnessed." Orthan inclined his head. "We will retrieve you within the day. Medical teams are prepared." "Understood." The screen went dark. Rynara swayed slightly, and Cole steadied her with a hand on her waist. "You didn't have to advocate that hard," he said quietly. "Yes, I did, because it is truth." She turned in his arms. "And because I do not wish to say goodbye yet." "Yet? I must return, file formal reports, testify before the Council." Her hand cupped his jaw. "But I will come back if you want me to." "That's a stupid question." She smiled. "Good, because I have not shown you what I wanted to show you, and I keep my promises." Director Chen cleared her throat from the doorway. "I hate to interrupt, but we have a situation. Torvin's ship was spotted 3 hours ago, approaching from the north. He's coming for her." Cole's blood went cold. "Here at the hospital?" "He's desperate. You've cost him his reputation and a fortune in bounty. He wants Rynara dead before she can testify." Chen pulled up tactical displays. "We're evacuating the hospital and setting up a perimeter, but his ship has weapons that can level this building." "Then we move her," Cole said. "To where?" "He has orbital tracking. Anywhere we take her, he'll follow." Rynara pushed away from Cole, standing on her own despite trembling legs. "Then we do not run. We end this now." "You can barely stand," Cole said. "I can fight." Her eyes met his, fierce and determined. "With you beside me, I can fight." Chen looked between them. "You're both insane." "Probably," Cole agreed. "But we've been beating the odds for a week. No reason to stop now." "What do you need?" Cole smiled, sharp and cold. "A plan, some explosives, and a really good distraction." The hospital roof was the worst possible battlefield and the only one that made sense. Torvin would come from above, confident in his ship's firepower, expecting either cowering prey or disorganized human resistance. He'd get neither. Cole checked the jury-rigged explosives one more time. Plastic charges borrowed from a very nervous EOD team, wired to a dead man's switch. Rynara stood at the roof's edge, wind catching her midnight hair. Plasma rifle held steady despite the pain etched in her features. "You should be in bed," Cole said. "You should stop saying foolish things." Below them, the evacuated hospital sat empty except for Director Chen's tactical team hidden in strategic positions. The bait was set. Now they just needed Torvin to take it. "When this is over," Rynara said, not looking at him, "I must leave for several months. The Council will require extensive debriefing." "I know, but I will return to finish what we started." Cole moved beside her. "What did we start?" She turned, amber eyes meeting his. "Something neither of us expected. Something that frightens me more than any hunter." "Me too." Her hand found his cheek. "Fear means it matters." Before he could respond, the sky tore open. Torvin's ship descended through clouds like a predator through water. Sleek, black, bristling with weapons that could vaporize the building. The hull shimmered with adaptive camouflage, making it hard to track. "Steady," Cole said into his radio. "Wait for my signal." The ship hovered 50 feet above the roof. A hatch opened. Torvin descended on a gravity platform flanked by 2 remaining hunters. His armor was scarred, his face beneath the cracked helmet twisted with rage. "Scout Rynara," he called out, voice amplified. "Your resistance ends now. Surrender and I will make your death quick." "I have a counteroffer," Rynara said. "Leave now and I will let you flee with your life." Torvin laughed, harsh and bitter. "You and your pet human? I have a warship. You have nothing." "We have something you lack," Cole said, stepping forward. "We have something worth fighting for." How poetic, how useless. Torvin raised his hand, weapons on the ship lit up, targeting systems locking on. "Any last words?" "Yeah," Cole said, "now." The hospital roof erupted, not from Torvin's weapons, but from charges Cole had placed during the evacuation. The explosions were precise, calculated, not to destroy but to blind. Smoke and debris filled the air, scattering the ship's targeting systems. Chen's team opened fire from hidden positions. Not plasma weapons, but good old-fashioned anti-material rifles loaded with armor-piercing rounds. The ship's shields absorbed most of it, but the barrage forced it higher, destabilizing Torvin's platform. Rynara moved. Even injured, even barely recovered, she was faster than human eyes could track. She closed the distance to the nearest hunter, claws extended, and took him down with brutal efficiency. The second hunter swung toward her, weapon charging. Cole shot him, center mass, then head. The hunter collapsed. Torvin snarled, abandoning his platform, landing hard on the roof. He was bigger than Cole expected, enhanced with cybernetics that made him partially mechanical. He moved with inhuman speed, plasma sword igniting in his hand. "I will enjoy this," Torvin said. He charged Rynara. She met him head-on, shifting partially, her hybrid form that was both human and beast. They collided in a blur of claws and energy, plasma sword scoring across her shoulder, her claws raking his armor. Cole circled, looking for an opening. The ship above was recalibrating, weapon systems coming back online. They had seconds. "Rynara!" he shouted. "Down!" She dropped. Cole triggered the dead man's switch. The charges he'd placed weren't on the roof. They were inside the hospital, positioned beneath structural supports. The building didn't collapse. Cole wasn't trying to destroy it, but the controlled detonations created a shockwave that rippled upward, destabilizing the air, creating turbulence. The ship lurched, its weapons fired wild, missing the roof by 20 feet. Torvin stumbled. Rynara didn't waste the opening. She drove her claws through a gap in his armor, into the cybernetics beneath, purple blood mixed with hydraulic fluid. Torvin roared, backhanding her away with enhanced strength. She hit the roof edge, teetered. Cole caught her, pulling her back from the drop. Torvin advanced, damaged but far from finished, plasma sword raised. "Insects are hard to kill," Cole said. He raised his rifle, the plasma weapon he'd taken from the canyon, and fired, not at Torvin, at the ship above them. The shot was impossible. Moving target, elevated position, one chance. But Cole had spent 20 years in these mountains making impossible shots. The plasma bolt struck the ship's starboard engine, punching through shields weakened by conventional fire. The explosion was spectacular. The engine detonated, chain reactions spreading, the ship listed, emergency systems screaming, beginning an uncontrolled descent. Torvin looked up, eyes widening in disbelief. "Your choice," Cole said. "Die here or save your ship." For a moment, Torvin stood frozen between revenge and survival. Then survival won. He triggered his recall beacon and the ship's emergency teleporter yanked him aboard in a flash of light. The ship limped away, trailing smoke and fire, barely maintaining altitude. It wouldn't make orbit, wouldn't make atmosphere. Chen's team would track it down within the hour. Cole and Rynara stood alone on the roof, breathing hard, covered in blood and ash. "We did it," she said, disbelief coloring her voice. "We did." She turned to him and suddenly they were kissing, desperate, victorious, alive. Her hands tangled in his hair, his arms wrapped around her waist, and nothing else mattered except this moment, this connection. When they finally broke apart, her forehead rested against his. "I must still leave," she whispered. "I know, but I will return, I swear it. I'll be here." She pulled back, studying his face like she was memorizing it. "You changed everything, Cole Harper. For me, for your species, for the future." "I just did what felt right." "That is why it matters." The sound of approaching aircraft broke the moment. Orthan's ship descended, elegant where Torvin's had been brutal, gleaming white instead of matte black. The hatch opened and Orthan himself appeared, flanked by medical personnel. "Scout Rynara," he said, "it is time." She nodded, then looked at Cole one last time. 6 months, maybe less. I'll count the days." She smiled, fierce and beautiful, then leaned in to whisper against his ear. "When I return, I will show you my homeworld, the cities that touch clouds, the forests that sing, all of it." Her lips brushed his cheek. "Wait for me." "Always." She stepped back, squared her shoulders, and walked toward Orthan's ship. At the entrance, she paused, looked back. Her amber eyes found his across the distance, and in them Cole saw promise and possibility. Then she was gone, the ship rising into the sky. Director Chen appeared beside him, watching the ship disappear into atmosphere. "You know the world's about to change, right?" she said. "First contact. Galactic politics. Everything we thought we knew is wrong." "Yeah," Cole said, eyes still on the sky. "And you're at the center of it. The human who saved humanity's first alien contact. You're going to be famous, studied, probably never have privacy again." Cole was quiet for a moment, then he smiled. "Worth it." Chen shook her head. "You're insane." "Probably." He stood on the roof as dawn broke over the valley, his valley now part of something infinitely larger. Somewhere above, Rynara was traveling to testify before a council of species humanity didn't know existed, and in 6 months she'd return. Cole looked at the stars beginning to fade in the growing light and wondered which one was hers. The beast had left, but the valley no longer feared its return. It waited for it, and so did he.